What's happening, folks? Gerald here, aka JFro90, coming at you with my very first Q&A for reaching 3K. This is very exciting for me because as a many YouTube subscriber, many years of being a YouTube subscriber for many people, I love Q&A videos from my favorite creators and all that. I really like getting to know people on this level, and so I'm excited to help you guys get to know me a bit more. So, really grateful for the questions I got 10 really good ones. Thank you to everyone who submitted. There's some questions I'm not going to answer on video. No, you know what you asked and you know who you are. But then there's some that I'm just really excited to actually talk about that. Like with all the videos I do for as long as I've been doing this now, it's exciting to let you guys in on me and on my process a little bit. So anyway, this is my very first Q&A for hitting 3K. It's a few. I have a good playlist for that. Some favorites that they're just like almost mood elevators or something like that. But Sounds of Blackness, Optimistic, that's a huge one. The song Happy by Brandy. That song will do a complete 180 on my energy, on my feelings. The song Because of Love by Janet Jackson, that there's something so infectiously happy and sweet about that song, that and it hits in the pockets of me, and all the melody, the moods, the instrumental, her harmonies, how sweet her voice sounds, how happy her voice sounds. And it's similar to with Brandy in the song Happy. And then similarly and a bit newer to the list is Mariah Carey's All I Live For. Same discussion, same things with that, where it hits the right pockets. And then lastly, what I'll just include as well, Michael Jackson's Get on the Floor, which is, if I haven't actually taken the time to like list out favorite Michael Jackson songs, but I can spoil that that's at least top 3, because similarly, that it's an entire vibe, and it's an entire vibe that from the jump, from that bass guitar, like it does something to my entire spirit. So those are my Forget Your Troubles, Come On Get Happy songs. The short answer is it's a no with a but and a yes with a if. It's complicated, we'll say that. The truth, yes, yes. If I had time. If I had time, there would be more. But also another if to that yes, if I liked editing more than I do. See, I see myself as an editor as real basic, real normal. I can make videos. I can get things done. I know how a project should flow. I know how to make it look clean. Even the mistakes you guys have seen in the past, they could have been better, but I don't. Then the flip side of this is I also hate editing. I only edit my stuff because I can't afford to pay others to do it for me. And that is my ideal. Like in this time of the year, if money is abundance and is just fantastic, I would love to have someone do the basic edit of a video, and then I would just go in and do finishing pieces. That would be ideal for me, because I feel like that's where my editing touches would really shine versus doing an entire video. And if I find editing exhausting, I'll tell you, I kind of mentioned before that I've been in one of the videos I did, I think it was the first one I did when I hit 1,000 or 2,000. I've been trying to do being a personality on YouTube for some years now. I think it's about technically for about 11 years now, on and off again, and to varying results. And the hardest part of that has always and consistently been the editing part. And not necessarily even just me and my abilities, but the time editing takes. To be a good editor, you have to put time into your editing. That is my advice to anyone who's looking to do anything to do with, editing as a career for movies, TV shows, music videos, commercials, to YouTube, to the social media stuff in general. Being a good editor and making things look smooth and seamless to where you can't even tell. I don't even. There's some edits that I've had to do for some of these videos I've made in the recent times where it's, they can't even tell. They cannot even tell. So it works. It works. It takes work, and it's not something I love to do. But I will say a caveat. I will say though, to give myself like an out, to like not make it that, oh, it's the worst thing in the world. I'd rather be editing than doing a lot of other things, And so it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just it takes a lot. It takes a whole lot. And actually, I would also recommend for anyone newly getting into this to really take editing and take self editing. Like, even if you can afford to get an editor, I'd still challenge you to be your self editor, because you learn so much of your patterns, because you can learn so much of what you struggle with in your deliveries, in your performances. Me, a huge one is play it. Um 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 I could do probably an hour-long video of the of the so that and my long pauses. I'm okay with the long pauses though, just because sometimes they're that's a quick edit. That's a really quick edit. And I like to, the more you edit and the more I do this stuff, I can count the and predict where they are in the like squiggles, and there I can use those as markers. So you learn things like that, and you learn yourself and your patterns like that. So yeah, I recommend it. But that said, that is why I don't have more fan made videos than I already have, but also why I've taken a hard freeze on that to do this. And I would like to move into a place where I have both going simultaneously, but then also more. Like, I will still always say, this is not just a reactor channel. In time, it might be, I might branch off to like, okay, we'll do another channel for sketches and like this and that and characters or whatever. But I want to do more on camera than just this. But for right now, just this, because this is really simple editing. There's a few songs that I would love to make music videos for. Um, the number one that sticks out, that's always in my mind, is Janet Jackson's "You" from her Velvet Rope tour, because it's a tour compilation video, which is it's a good tour compilation video, but that song is so deep. It's one of her deepest and darkest and richest and complex songs of her discography. It is very much, I would say, and I've never heard someone say it, so I don't know if it's just me, it's the Velvet Ropes version of her song "If." And can you imagine if didn't have that iconic video and it was a tour compilation? It would still work. "If" is a banging song. "You" is a banging song. But that video is again, it's good. No hate on the video itself, but it deserves better. And with all the imagery that we have in the photo shoots and the behind the scenes of the Velvet Rope, I would love if "You" was that video that got to showcase a lot of that energy and a lot of that feeling. Also, in terms of fan made videos, there's some I still plan on making. There's some I still plan on making. I'll spoil that now for a few, not all of them, but I really want to do one for Whitney Houston's "Look Into Your Heart," the Curtis Mayfield Sparkle cover. That, oh my god, I discovered that song 2 years ago, maybe a year or two ago, and it's taken. That's another one I could actually add on to a song that uplifts me. It's hard to, that the way it's the happiness in her voice in that song. She uplifts me. And for Michael, it probably would be "Get on the Floor." And then also with the Jacksons, his brothers, it would be Time Waits for No One. And for like different reasons, the dance song and ballad, but it's like I feel I could see the imagery in that. Like a big deal for me in the fan made videos was there's two there's everyone I made I had visions and wanted to make and wanted to see made for years. But the videos for You Can Be Mine by Janet and Michael's I Can't Help It, those had to be made. And those had to be made the way I saw them made with the footage I had seen. And I feel similarly. That's how I work. That's how I work. I have these visions, and I'll look on YouTube for someone else to see something similar, and sometimes it happens. Sometimes it actually happens. But if it's not there, it's a task that I must create it. I must put it there. And then sometimes it's like, hey, sometimes YouTube will block it, and it's, hey, I made it and it's mine. So okay, the world doesn't get to see it, but it's not just in my head. It's that thing of getting it out of my head. So yeah. Ooh, fun anecdotes as a tour guide. A lot. Ooh, yeah, I spent some time as a tour guide. I won't name the companies, but yeah, I did two tour companies in Hollywood. One, we did Hollywood home tours, where we would go all up in Mulholland Drive, all up in the mountains and the hills, and the best views. And we'd be around legendary homes and legendary neighborhoods, and if celebrities weren't living in the houses we were passing, they used to. And I also did a tour company where we did just, the fun stuff of Hollywood, but then also Beverly Hills and Venice Beach and Santa Monica, which is one of my favorite places in the world. A pain in the butt to get to, but when you're there, love Santa Monica. One of my favorite things in the world was when I would see TMZ interview a celebrity in person, because on camera, you put on TMZ right now, it looks a certain way. It looks kind of regular or whatever. But it's so weird when you see that in person. It's almost a little disturbing, because what you're not seeing on the TV show, the camera, that camera is like all up in here of the celebrity, and it's, how are you not back COVID, back it up please, because that camera is like all right up in here. And it's fair, it's pretty interesting too, because you'll see people walking by who don't even really notice, who are kind of in their phones or in their own thing, and it's like, wow. One of my favorites though was seeing Ron Howard, and then through that I ended up on TMZ, just in the back where you can see my bus passing out. I'll put the picture here.
Terrific among fans.
Sure, sure.
And so
you can see my bus just in the background there.
Not what everybody was looking for.
Sure.
I remember seeing. I remember. I was like, you guys, there's Ron Howard, and he's being interviewed by TMZ. Look how invasive they are. And they were, and everyone, whenever we would see that, it's like, whoa, because yeah, you're not used to that. You're not used to seeing someone walking backwards and pointing their camera at someone walking forward, like all up in here. It's really weird. So, one of the houses that we would do on the celebrity home tours would be the final place that Michael Jackson lived in, and it's ultimately the place that he passed away in, and everyone who saw the footage that day saw those gates opening for the ambulance. Y'all can imagine how many times I've seen that footage. Whenever we would be like 2 minutes in radius to getting to that position, that's where I would remind the crowd or let them in on the fact that I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, and what this place and what that date meant to me, and how sad, but then what it ultimately is to be able to be there regularly. And it happened a few times after, but the very first time those gates opened, I forgot who I was. I forgot I had a job. I forgot, and the thing is, and it wasn't. Don't get it twisted. I wasn't disillusioned that. Well, did I think it was Janet or the family? No, no. I know that they never they actually only went like right after he passed away, and that the house now is a rental space and for parties and events and like you know no one, I don't think anyone's lived there since him, but it's available to rent basically, and a lot of people do rent it for events and things. It was probably one of the most least professional moments I've ever had, where I'm saying, and if you guys turn to your left right now, you can see the gates are open. Shut up! You all shut your mouth. The gates are opening. Shut up! Sit down. I was so not myself. I was so. It was. Yeah, I was so not myself. I said, yeah, the gates are opening. My God, my God. That was me. That was me, basically. I did in my head more so, but I was still professional. But I was feeling a lot less. Again, I genuinely forgot who I was for a minute because the gates opening just totally took me back. So, anyway, those are some tour guide memories. I got a lot more. I'll maybe do a whole video. I got so many fun little tidbits and little stories. So I appreciate that question very much. And I would really love to either advance this channel or also start a channel that is just about tour guiding stuff and just about showing off locations I know about. Like I could do a whole Michael Jackson video for Vegas because he spent some good amount of his years here, if his final years here actually, and then just in general, Vegas history and Vegas Black history really interests me too. I love everything to do with entertainment history, and I love everything to do with Black history too. So it's like I like learning the locations and going to the place because these places, if they're still standing, they are legendary. So my mom ended up living in Japan because, well, it's a really cool story. I'm gonna sum it up because otherwise it could be a whole video itself. But she's always wanted to live overseas, and that is before me and my siblings were even a thought. Really, she's always had the dream of living overseas and traveling the world. That's why I've been as many places as I have is byproduct of being her child. So as a kid, we couldn't fly places all the time. As a little, my first plane ride was when I was 11. So, but I was traveling long before then. As a little kid, up to like basically all my life, we would do family road trips, and we'd be living in Detroit, but we would go down to the South every summer because that's where my dad's side of the family is. And shout out to my family in the South. Even though my parents split when I was 1, my mom always very much had an appreciation for mutually my dad's family, and they always had an appreciation for her. And also, she always wanted us to be close to them, to know who these people are, our relatives are. So we always did summers in the South, and like, oh, I miss that. I really, really miss that. But we would also do trips to New York. We've done trips to California, which that was amazing to end up living there for 9 years. I loved that. That very much was my favorite place. Very much is my favorite place in the U.S. Still, and favorite states anyway. And, at this point right now, I've been to 41 of the 50 states. I hate that I haven't been to Alaska and Hawaii yet. I gotta absolutely hit both of those because they're the far ones. And majority of the other ones are the little ones in the far east. I've never been to the farthest on the east coast. But all the west coast I've done, all the south I've done, and all the midwest I've done. So, yeah. But anyway, to Japan. My mom, 2 years ago. It was almost exactly 2 years ago, actually. But my mom, she was getting close to retirement. Just she works in the school system. She's a speech therapist for kids with their speech. Helps them, talk more clear. and which is so funny because I am a bumbling, stuttering, but like this is your job, lady. That could have been your homework. But anyway, she's basically been working in schools as that and as a substitute teacher previously before necessarily becoming a speech therapist. She's basically been working in the school systems for around 40 years now, if not 40, around 40, and it's just becoming a time of it's a lot. Be a kid of any teacher or any, body in general who works in the schools and especially public schools, you see, you learn early on what stress is. That, oh, stress is what mom is when she's done from work. So my mom, she's at that point where she's not ready to stop, but she's nearing it and she sees it and she, doesn't want to do this forever. And her thing was she would have been okay actually with the way 2020 went, but she actually applied for this like right before 2020, honestly. But she wanted to try for this one more time before the thought of retirement because she's actually tried to work and live in Japan for years, like through our childhood. And as kids, yes, because we have family, a cousin who was in the Navy who lived in Japan, and he's of my mom's generation, and he has kids that are, of my generation, and we're like, yeah, of course we're gonna go, and we're gonna like be neighbors with them, and we're gonna hang out and be like brothers and sisters and stuff. Yeah, and we thought that was like for us. No, that was my mom's dream that we were just happened to be little and a part of. But she got turned down. It was a thing of she was too specific, and they rather you be open. And so with applying for this one last time, she left it more open, and she ended up Japan. Like she wanted that cousin who lived there though. He's now in Florida, and his kids, my cousins, and his kids who are like I said, my generation, they also live in other places in the world, which is pretty amazing. But so it's like she's really over there, mostly by herself, and it's pretty fascinating. But it was an interesting process of she did not think she would get that through so many things like her age, and she's like, oh my god, I'm competing with a lot of younger and newer teachers, this and that. And I remember when she was one of, I want to say something like 50 or 100, and she kept moving on. It kept dwindling. One of 20, one of 10, one of 5. That was the 5 was like, whoa, this might happen. This just might happen. And then the day before Thanksgiving 2020, my mom had a scream like she saw a mouse in the house. And it was because she got the email that she was moving to Japan. That, oh my God, that was, wow. It feels like just yesterday because it wasn't that long ago. It was only 2 years ago. Like I say, I miss her. I strongly miss her. It's like I don't need to be in the same house as her. I don't need to be in the same city, same state, same neighborhood. But I would like to be in the same continent as her. But this is her dream, and I'm so proud of her. And as much as I miss her, and it's a lot, I'm more proud of her for being where she is and doing this and being fearless about it. She just did it. She just did it, and she's there, and I love it. And it's very much proved too. I was very worried about like this idea of a long distance mom, because it's like, even though I'm in my 30s, mom is still mom. It's like I need you somewhere you're reachable in case something's wrong or something. But we we talk all the time. We're very reachable. So and thank you technology for that. I don't know how this would have worked in the 90s, but whew, but that is how my mom ended up in Japan. It's funny, I could do my technical long answer, but I can short. I'm gonna stick to your 10 because I love to give things a tie, and one day I'm gonna do a ranking of my top 20 favorite artists, and the truth is, because of the number of ties, it's actually like 35 that make up that top 20. that's me. I play by my own rules. Yeah. But I'll keep it simple. Keep it simple. Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Aretha Franklin, Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, Prince, Mary J. Blige, and Toni Braxton. See, I'm tempted. I'm tempted to give to make some ties in there to expand it, but 10, just 10, just 10, just 10, just 10. I okay, all right. Ooh, that's a fun one. I couldn't wait to answer that one. I almost don't have a choice but to be this way, and I've kind of touched on this before. New artists don't really excite me just out of being raised on the artists of my mom's generation, the Motown era, the 60s, the 70s. Even back then when you were a new artist, you released sometimes 3 albums in a year, sometimes 2, mostly 2. Most artists did like I think it would be more average. I think it was rather average that most artists of the 60s specifically and then into the 70s too, they would release 2 albums a year minimally. Take for example the Jackson 5. The Jackson 5's very first album, Diana Ross Presents the Jackson 5, was released December 12th, 1969. Jump ahead 2 years, December 12th, 1971. Within that 2-year time span, the Jackson 5 released 5 albums. Granted, with that kind of release, that's a lot. That's a lot on the artists, a lot on labels with videos that we can't do that today. I would not really encourage that. When I find out artists release multiple albums in the same year today, so, but why? But I love a discography that is full, that is bodied. Think about me approaching Fleetwood Mac, the Beatles, Celine Dion, these artists that are fairly new for me that I do on here and I'm spending specific time on. I want to learn, I want to grow through this artist, through what they've already been through, not necessarily grow with them per se. As I know that might sound a little weird or something, but like I said, it's almost who I was forced to be because my mom raised me on Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, the Jackson 5, the Supremes, and Marvin Gaye, and these artists. They had these catalogs, these vast catalogs that gave you different energies and different feelings. And even at an early age, you were learning how you grow as artists and how you're supposed to grow as artists. Just that. I like a catalog. I like artists who they have journeys, and when I arrive to them, I'm on that journey, But there are a few artists who I'll grow with and go into. Like Bruno Mars is actually, he's the shining star of this generation for me, just in that he has all of that old artist aesthetic and old artist release movement, and it's perfect. I felt the same way too, honestly, and it's what breaks my heart, and I feel like this too maybe limited my capacity for new artists or how closely I attach to new artists. How much Aaliyah's death broke my heart because her Aaliyah album in that era was when I fully knew her name, I fully knew who she was, I fully was getting into her and was appreciating her. Like, I'll never forget that. It was literally the night before Aaliyah passed that my family, led by the conversation was led by my cousin Cedric, just over the fact, who I like? That Aaliyah. There's something really special about her, and there's something really different about the way she goes about things that, like, I'm really interested. And we all were in agreement. It's 11 years old me, and I'm like, yeah, I feel this. There's something really great about her. The next day. You can't make that. I will never forget that. And that crushed me. That crushed me in a way. And so it's that thing where it's like sometimes I feel like I don't want to connect too much to my generation or the generations younger when they're so young and so fresh and so new, because it's like I want to wait for you to live a little bit more. Live a little bit more, because Aaliyah's that one. Aaliyah's that one. No one has broken my heart the way Aaliyah did, because, like, of course, my heart was broken with Whitney and Prince and Michael, of course, but Aaliyah was so young. Aaliyah was so new. And Aaliyah was so someone I genuinely heard, someone I genuinely saw. And I think I mentioned before, Aaliyah was technically like my first concert. I didn't know it was her. I didn't like quote unquote care. It was a Detroit like local thing, and we were there for a different reason. But I remember seeing her on stage and all that. But it was only years later. My mom, that was Aaliyah. Yeah, she was headlining something, and what we were there for was like the openers. But anyway, that is a lot of why this channel and how it is in the older artists it pays tribute to is very much who I am, really, and very much how I listen to music, really. The new stuff, and it's like, I don't want to say I automatically dislike. I don't want to say I automatically dislike it. I don't want to say I automatically don't want to give it a chance, but it doesn't excite me the same way. Even when you have to be damn good to be under 40 and excite me today. Basically, shoot, under 50 practically and excite me today with your releases and your stuff. Again, Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga's added there to that too, Janelle Monáe, it's a few others. Rihanna, absolutely Rihanna. Yeah, it's a special thing when you are young or of my generation and your releases excite me. You should feel very special for that. Strategy. Honest answer is sometimes. And that's very much kind of how I like to live my creative life. I don't want to be bound to schedule, to strategy, to this is that window and we have to live for each of these windows coming up. The anxiety. It's workable anxiety though, because I do also love to create, and I actually really do love a deadline. But as rewarding as the payoff can be and is when I beat my deadlines, when I'm ahead of schedule, when I'm this and that, when I'm not, I have a lot of issues with not beating myself up too much and failure to meet certain schedules. I'm much better than, say, for sure my teenage years, and say even 5 years ago actually, but we don't like to have to keep working on that, and that's something that keeps it. So, but I like the ability to be. I like the flexibility of it being like, okay, sometimes I do these videos. What I'm filming right now, this Q&A, poised to possibly come out Sunday, December 11th, but it's okay if it doesn't. At the same time, too, where this video could possibly come out this Sunday, where this video could possibly come out today in a couple of hours, I also really like that my schedule doesn't rely on it. That I actually have videos as I record this right now, that are already finished, edited, and uploaded to YouTube to be scheduled release up until this weekend, So I like that. This schedule is actually very much the truth of how I operate in life in general, where I love a structure, but I also love a flexibility to not be bound by that structure. And so when I remember special dates and birthdays or am reminded of them, I might plan something for certain days, or to specifically towards the videos. If I do a few artists who they're of the same sound, the same era, the same label, the same this and that, this reminds me of that, it's nice to, okay, these 3 will go out this day. But then too, I also like the flexibility of let's just record and let's just plan. Let's just work with what we have and plan around what we make, really. So I really like that balance, and that's a balance I would aim to keep. But I can also see the more I do this and the longer I do this, my flexibility getting a little bit less, because I really do like a schedule and I really do like a deadline, and I'm really still new to this. And so while I'm new, this flexibility has to exist for me to be comfortable. I record my reactions off of my media player, off of my media player on my computer. In fact, that's something I'd actually recommend for reactors going forward. Don't react off of YouTube unless you're using your phone. Don't download all the videos on your phone. Just out of, as a fan of reactors, and like this comes from really my love of watching other reactors do it. It's them commercial breaks. We gotta put it into them, and we gotta put it into them happening in reaction videos. No, that's actually like the small part of it. The big part of it is I do this from my laptop, and in that sometimes my Wi-Fi connection might go out, might be weak. It happens with the lives when we do the buffering and all that. And again, I hate buffering so much. But having these videos offline, I can do this without internet. I could do this anywhere without internet, because the program I use, OBS Studios, and what I'm watching my videos on, they don't require the internet. And that's perfect. So I'd recommend, if you're planning on doing your reactions from a laptop, which I'd also kind of recommend after, I think you should maybe start on your phone. My first two reactions were via phone, but I think you should ultimately want to end on laptop or computer. Also, get you a subscription to Snap Downloader. It's very cheap. I got the yearly thing. That's in the description below. And it's fantastic, and you don't have to worry about buffering. You don't have to worry about buffering. You don't have to worry about the internet. You don't have to worry about ads. Come on. What's funny? I'm actually a bit more considerate in choosing my hair for my videos versus the release dates of the videos. And it's all the moods. Sometimes I'll have a system going in the hair and in the looks that kind of finds its place. Like the fact that for October, that was red hair month, and November was braided and lock month, really. December is going to be a mix. It's going to be mostly dark, but a mix of going from extremely realistic to also extremely not realistic. Yeah, I choose hair like I choose clothes, and I have a lot of it. I have a whole lot of it, and a lot of it I got actually during 2020, but a lot of it I make to or made to, because of money. When money's tight, the hair stops. So everything you've seen, can y'all wait till y'all see this channel when money is great. Wait till y'all see how much I'm changing hair when money is coming in. But anyway, so yeah, everything you see me in, yeah, I restyle, I do different ways, and I try not to do. A little secret to me in the hair, I actually, when I'm going to record in the hair, I try to wear it until I'm recording. Like this that I'm wearing right now, I wanted to make this video yesterday, but it's been a long time since this had a condition, and the curls weren't doing this. See all that? See all that? See all that? They weren't doing that, and I needed them to do that. So I washed them, and so I washed this one and like set it right and everything. And my rule is, my sister Kier knows it. I do not record a video wearing hair that I washed the day of. Like, no, it needs to sit. It needs products. It needs stuff to really do its thing. I mean, so it'll be that. But like today, I was out earlier. I'll wear a different one. I'll wear something else just because it's the performance thing. We're not gonna get the hair that we're performing in like matted up and messed up or anything. So this might be worn out tomorrow. I almost wish I had a party or a function. Who's got a Christmas party in Vegas I could pop in on real quick and Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry. Yes. Ooh, this last question is one of the most important questions to me because it's about authenticity, and I'm very much about keeping it real and keeping it authentic on this channel. The honest answer is absolutely not. If I sit here to record a reaction and I'm not liking the song, I'm not liking the video really, we're not going to count the video, but I'm really not liking the song. The artist is someone maybe that is rather new for me, and where it's like, okay, we got to try something else. We got to get a better song, or even some of my favorites. Yeah, if I sit here to record a reaction and I'm not liking it, I'm not feeling it, the video probably won't get finished. Like, no, me watching the video probably won't get finished, and I will end this in the middle of me reacting. And I would never upload that. I just don't believe in promoting what I don't like. I don't, and especially artists and songs you guys request, because I'm of the obvious thing that if you request a song, you like it, and you like that artist. And my thing is, I don't want to disrespect you by, trashing possibly your favorite artist, possibly your favorite song, a song that's game changing and life changing for you, But I will let you know, like, especially if this one more so speaks to Patreon or a funded request. I very much believe in, if I'm not feeling it and you're actually paying for this, I gotta let you know, like, is there anything else? Is there any other? Because that one doesn't do it for me. And honestly, it's happened. I haven't had to have that talk with anyone, but there have been songs and videos that have been recommended by commenters on YouTube, and they haven't been for new artists. It's actually been for some of my favorites, but it'll be performances I've never seen before, and it's like, this wasn't their best day. This wasn't the best rendition of this. I have nothing to say about this performance that would be beneficial to anyone. Entertaining, sure, but I'm very aware of what I put out there. I very much don't want to and don't believe in putting out negativity, and especially just for the sake of it too. Like, no, because I say this all from a place of being someone who follows reactors, and who I've seen reactors come from this place and end up doing hate reactions and doing almost thriving off of being negative and stuff like that. It's like, no, like, you're disrespecting a whole bunch of people there. And so, yeah, I believe in keeping it real. I believe in keeping it real in all things except for the hair. So anyway, so I believe in, when it comes to my opinions, keeping it real, and at least publicly keeping it respectful. I will say a way that you could trip me up that I almost don't want to even advertise it, but if I'm doing a live reaction, a live sponsored reaction especially, that's a real one where it's like, and I don't want it to happen, but I'm sure it might, but I'm glad it hasn't. Because lastly too, on this note, I try to find good in everything. I honestly, unless I really don't like the artists in general, and there are some, I'm not going to name them on video at all, because again, why am I going to invite that hate into my life? But anyway, unless I don't like the artist, especially if I'm new to an artist, I'm going to be really trying to find my hook, what is my positive put on this, really, and even if it's none, I'm still gonna look for a way to put it politely that this wasn't for me. So, and honestly, we haven't been there. We just haven't been there. And I've really lucked out on you guys, my patrons and my subscribers and my followers in general. Just in that, I feel like you guys are taking care to look at what I respond to and what I react to. And so you're getting an idea of what I'm open to, what is my flavor, you know? And I appreciate it. Like I said, there's a good amount of artists that I just do not like and I'm not a fan of. They've never been recommended. I appreciate that. And yeah, I appreciate every one of you guys. You guys got me to 3K. 3K. Think about this. One of my New Year's wishes or pushes out there on social media was for my channel, this channel right here, to get 100 subscribers. We started in September, but then I was battling pneumonia and recovering from pneumonia the whole month of October, so my start was a bit slow. But December 31st, I think I had like 97, 98 followers, and so it's like, for January 1st, 2022, get me to 100. And I'm going into 2023 with possibly 3.5K. That's because of you. that's because of us. That's, you know, I also, with losing my dad, it sent me on a journey of wanting to do this and really put my energy into this because it gave me something to look forward to. I find this fun. Even the editing I don't like, I find this fun and I find this a great distraction. And I'm excited to grow with it. I'm excited to grow with you guys. And again, thank you all so much for subscribing. When I say what I say in these ends, these wrap-ups, I mean every word of this too, because I can't imagine going through what I went through this year with losing my dad without having this output and receiving so much love, so much positivity, so much, you know, like I said, and even the success, even the becoming a YouTube partner, and then also getting a solid number of patrons to where you guys really helped me in this year of mess. And words can't properly do it. I feel like it's one of those things where, like, in 2 years it'll make a good documentary or something like that, or it's gonna make a great story. So, and you guys are a part of this chapter, and I appreciate it. And so, genuinely, thank you very much for taking the time to push play on this video today. If you want to follow me on social media, that's in the description below. If you'd like to tip me, sponsor a request, just plain donate, that is also in the description below. And more questions too in the comments below. If I'm not getting to them, my next Q&A will be 5K for the next Q&A. And after that it'll be 10, because 10 is to go. 10 is to go. I think I can get to 10 midsummer. I think July. By July or in July. Flexibility, but with a deadline. That's me. Anyway, and please consider joining my Patreon. Like I said, you guys have been helping so much with helping me get by through doing this. And that is everything. Getting funded for doing things that you are passionate about, that is everything. I promise you that. On Patreon, you get benefits like early access to videos like these, Patreon only videos like these, and then extended videos like these. It's funny, this is a long form talk video for YouTube, but I do these all the time for Patreon. And for the reactions that you guys see, I just edit them out of that YouTube cut. So sometimes, not every video, but a few. But anyway, just thank you guys so much for all that you've helped me to get to this point. It all means so much. Special shout outs to 4 people, 2 of which y'all gonna share. 2 of my sisters, Jessica and Kier. You both have contributed so much to the growth of this channel. My sister Jessica is the one who first recommended the Beatles and the one who first recommended Fleetwood Mac. And then my sister Kier is the one who recommended all things to do with K-pop and just in general EXO. Thank you. Thank you so very much to the both of you. My best friend Gianna, who also lives here in Vegas and who's been my real life rock and motivator, and she gives that in-person conversation. As much as the support from you guys and even my sisters and my family from all over the world. I so need someone in person sometimes to, hey, so what you filming tonight? You want me to get you know, yeah, that extra poke, that physical poke. I need that. And my best friend, since we were both 15, she's here and she's very, very, very helpful with that. So, and then lastly and most importantly, my mom all the way in Japan, whose birthday was recently. Happy birthday again, Mom. My mom, she, whew, okay, we're not gonna cry. We gonna wrap it up. My mom, she's just also been a consistent supporter, and it means a lot because she wants me to succeed, and she believes I can. But it's also hard for her because I always say, with being from Detroit, we don't grow up. You don't grow up with people who, I want to be an actor, I want to be a star, I want to be a this and that, and then they do. Motown was in the 60s, you know. That don't exist there anymore. You have all the talent you have, but then you work. But then you go on to that Ford factory and work. You go on to that hospital or that schoolhouse and work. But I have all these dreams and all these ambitions, and my mom, even when it's hard for her to understand it, it's hard for her to see it, it's hard for her to appreciate it. She wants it for me though. She wants me to win, and she has been so understanding, and she's been such a huge help just in this process, in this year of doing this channel. But then, like I said too, with losing my dad, my mom, she wasn't able to come back to the States this year, but she's been so helpful through that process still from Japan, you know, and through talking to me and my siblings. But again, as it relates with me, but just of this process and of what moving on looks like and what getting back. I appreciate every time you need to do more videos. You need to do more. Hey, things are getting tight. You need to do more videos so you can get in that YouTube partnership. Things are getting a little tight around there. You get how many videos you coming out with today? You think one video is enough to get you to that partnership? Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. And you know, just again, as I say a million times, I think it's in over 700 videos by now. But please take care of yourselves. Mean that. As much as I mean also, please take care of each other.